I played Total War Warhammer 40k, and it was pretty good. To start off, I was not paid to make this video or play the video game. Instead, CA reached out to a bunch of creators and allowed us to play a demo of the game with no strings attached. If we hated it, we could tell them. If we wanted a change, we could suggest it. So this video is completely my own personal opinion and experience playing the newest Total War game. Starting off, this game is going to have some insane implications for the lore of 40k, but we will get there in a moment. First, we need to understand what is in the game at launch and after a couple of years. Alright, to start off with the factions and their implementation. As you already know, the game will be launched with Orcs, Eldari, Space Marines and the trusty Imperial Guard. Of course, the first thing I asked when getting the chance to talk to a developer was whether we would get all the other factions in this same game. The answer was yes. Every faction in Warhammer 40k will be represented in Total War. Some might take a while to get there, but most of them will be added within the next few years. An interesting note on this for all of us lore fans. It isn't just the main factions, also sub-factions. Let's say a fan-favorite Space Marine chapter or a Gene Stealer cult that was mentioned in a new novel might very well get the chance to be playable and explored in this game. So yes, you Farsight Enclave nerds and Custodes enjoyers, you all will get a slice of the pie as well. On top of this, the factions we get to see so far, mainly being Marines and Orcs, actually have very decent unit rosters. They felt lore accurate, represented what they had to represent, and from the way my original interview went, we are going to see all the beloved named characters that you'd hope your faction would get. So not just Dante for the Blood Angels, but also Mephiston and Astaroth the Grim. And yes, this does include Primarchs, so Lionel Johnson and Rabute Gilliman and possibly even more. As the dev nearly dropped a joke on that. Not sure if that was a rumor starter for a third loyalist Primarch returning, but take that joke as you will. Moving on from factions to campaigns. Instead of just getting a shit little training campaign like in Total War Warhammer 3, we are actually getting a proper full-on training campaign that should actually last you around 20 hours. Yes, there's lore connected to this, which will be different to the faction you pick. Then after that training campaign, you can play an actual story campaign. You know, proper lore, canonical choices, and a well-written storyline that you and your faction go through. And then, my beloved, sandbox campaigns. It is what you think it is. It is the Total War 3 special. And on top of that, this time the devs seem pretty clear on these campaigns taking an actual amount of time, as the galaxy is quite large. As in, some campaigns might actually feel closer to Stellaris than a rush to world control in Total War 3. From the way the maps are built, planets having dozens of provinces, and systems having multiple planets and moons. A full 40k campaign might actually just take you like 600 to 800 hours. Speaking of maps, this game starts at Armageddon, the current war for Armageddon that we see in the 11th edition starter set, meaning the Cicatrix Maledictum has split the galaxy in half, Cadia is a bunch of rubble, and all the current campaigns going on in the lore should be represented on the galaxy map. This has two main implications that are really important to what makes Total War 40k so exciting for me. One, simply put, this means we will get a better in-game look at how these campaigns are going, how GW chooses to represent their actual wars in a non-written form, and we can get a better understanding of what these wars actually feel like. And two, very important, this means that GW will be able to work with CA to, and wait for it, implement new lore changes, campaigns, wars, factions on the galaxy map, where you get to actually deal with them, fight them, join them, or whatever your Total War heart desires. So yes, if they do bring out Leman Russ next, you might be able to fight alongside Leman Russ or even play him in Total War 40k. Yes, Total War Warhammer 40,000 is designed as the ultimate poster boy for new ongoing campaigns, plots and lore changes in 40k, meaning that if you want to interact with the newer lore of 40k, this game will be the easiest and maybe even fastest way wait to explore that new lore. Also, as a lore nerd, everything I have seen so far, barring the last guns getting turned into Star Wars laser blasters, from ship design to weapon design to animation cycles, everything seems really lore accurate, which, as someone who did not enjoy Primaris Marines until 2 years ago, is pretty impressive. Maybe I should start a second Primaris army, because the animations for them in this game are fucking awesome. Now, time for the game part itself, because what is more important than a 40k game? A good Total War game. It doesn't matter if it's 40k or not, we all want a good game. When I saw the layout, I paused and thought it was Jover. But honestly lads, the layout makes a lot more sense when you actually play the game. I've got about 1000 hours in Total War 3, with another 500 or so spread over the many other Total Wars. And I have to say, Total War Warhammer 40,000 is a way better game than Total War 3. Not only is the balance genuinely way better, but they got rid of the bullshit hero hammer slop, made units responsive like Medieval 2 and Shogun 2, and made the maps feel properly sized and well put together. If Total War 3 is like a solid 6 in gameplay mechanics, Total War 40k is closer to an 8, as this was a really early build that we were playing, and, by the way, streaming through a fucking streaming service so they could help us if need be. I imagine over the next few years, as they develop this game further, that it is only going to get better. Alright, I'm just gonna go over a bunch of quick notes from my gameplay experience, so this isn't really scripted, I'm just gonna go down the note list. Guns felt very balanced and good. Exploding buildings and changing terrain aren't as important as they say they are. Unit balance is exceptionally good. Unit rosters are currently limited, but we were told that they would greatly expand. Close combat, flanking and stacking effects actually felt amazing. Hero Hammer is dead, thank God. Vehicles are pretty good. You can kite and do some sneaky tactics with them, but not nearly as powerful as a flying Karl Franz, per example. Ammunition stacks are gone, meaning that you can shoot forever, but as shooting is now just as strong as close combat, and units are more balanced, that part just straight up doesn't matter anymore. Abilities on characters were cool. My personal favorite was the Psychic Storm. My librarian could unleash twice per battle. Oh yeah, army abilities have been replaced with stratagems, and they are actually really fun to use. They need some skill to properly line up and time, but they are devastating if done right, and almost useless if you don't know how to use them. So really, a nice skill mechanic alongside a way better balanced roster. Units are more responsive than ever. They don't just stand there calculating commands anymore. And even if half the unit is in combat, the other half can still shoot into the same combat. Maps are beautiful. The galaxy map is gorgeous, the system map was sexy, and oh boy did I love looking at the little hive cities and camps on the smaller world maps. Shit was peak. Hated the UI at first, got better the longer I played, just wish I could change the map position. Recruiting is back to the way it was in Shogun 2 and other Total Wars. So you now recruit your units again in a standalone army outside a city with no lord, that you later move to your main army to join up. You cannot cheese the game like Total War 3. I tried very hard, but no, a Space Marine captain cannot solo an entire army. They actually made the AI way better at countering this shit as well. Oh yeah, by the way, the entire game runs on a whole new engine. And they were adamant that this would not only allow the game to run way more stable at a higher fidelity, but also that it should make modding quite easy to make the game a real pleasure to play and enjoy for the long run. Also, before I forget, you can customize everything on your army. You know how some people would love to represent their tabletop army in a video game? Yeah, Total War 40k actually does that properly. It does not only change the colors and details on your characters and units, it also lets you make things like your own logo. You know, the old Call of Duty style, which was really fun to experiment with. They did say that we got a very limited customization screen, because in earlier tests people would spend hours of their allotted time frames customizing their army, which, if I had more options, I may as well have done it as well. But homebrewers, rejoice. You can make your own chapter in the game now. Coming back to modding one more time, CA seems very keen this time on continuing modding support and understands that, like Total War 40k, modding is going to be a make or break when it comes to the long-term enjoyability of fans. When I cracked a joke about making a Horus Heresy Total War mod, the dev got really quiet, so do with that as you will. So when can we expect this game? Oh brother, it needs another year in the oven. And it is a good thing that CA is actually doing that. It seems that for once they really want to release an actually good engine and game that can be upgraded and adjusted over time, that is really fun on launch. They aren't rushing like with Total War 3, and I hope you guys can see that too. Now comes the time for the last part of the video before all of you call me a shill, a 40k bootlicker, or whatever you wanna call me this time. It is time for some negatives. Yay, content needs to be negative these days. As I said before, this game is a pretty good Total War game, but a okay 40k game, which also means that if it was any other setting, it would honestly have been better than choosing 40k for it. Maybe it was the early build, maybe it was the random reinforcements, maybe it was streaming the game with 200 ping. But if this game was something like Horus Heresy, Unification Wars, or even the War in Heaven, it would have been a better fit than normal bog standard 40k. The unit sizes are pretty good, but I wish I could bring an entire chapter into one combat. With the great sizes of conflicts in 40k, I wish we could actually represent that. Yes, I do want to cosplay as Yarick, fighting for Armageddon, using tactics that even my Black Templar allies would cry at. But right now, I am unsure whether CA can represent wars at that scale and the depth that novels do. Maybe it is just me being traumatized from the first full year of Total War 3, but I feel like if this game doesn't launch in a reasonable manner, with a certain acceptable stability, half the community will never give it a chance. Which, because it is a really good Total War game, is a fucking shame, as it has been a while since we've had a good Total War game in my opinion. Also, CA, I love you guys, but please let me play the next playtest on my own device. Streaming the game at 200 ping and having to record it on your office PC was not a good experience. I like your vision, I like the talks we had, I actually like the game, but please let me play it in a way where it is more representative of what a normal player would get to enjoy. Anyway, if this is the path that CA is actually taking, Medieval 3 and New Shogun and even Total War Warhammer 40,000 are going to be good, fun, enjoyable and hopefully balanced video games. As a lore nerd, I am very excited to see how GW and CA intend to use this game as an engine to tell more of the lore to us 40k hobbyists. But it remains to be seen how accurate they can actually make it, and if there's a way for them to, make it feel like it actually has an impact again. As a hobbyist who currently likes painting his 3rd to 5th edition orcs, I am glad I get to build my orc clan in-game with full customization options. Yes, I do want to run my full tournament army in Total War, and yes, I will lose just as badly as I do in every tournament I attend in real life. Alright, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are you excited for when it comes to Total War 40k? Is it looking better or worse than Dawn of War 4? What faction should CA add right after the game launches? And if you could ask the devs anything, what would you ask them? Because I might relay some of the better questions to them. Thank you all for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.